In Matthew chapter 22, we see this story about a man who gets thrown out into the outer darkness from a wedding of the king's son. And in that story, this man gets thrown out into the outer darkness, which is hell, because he's not wearing this cloth, a wedding garment. So what is this wedding garment we should wear in order to get into the kingdom of heaven? And there is an answer to what it is in the Bible. So we're going to find out what that wedding garment is. This is Matthew chapter 22 verse 2. The kingdom of heaven is like a certain king who arranged a marriage for his son and sent out his servants to call those who were invited to the wedding, and they were not willing to come. So as you know, there will be a wedding banquet for God's Son, who is Jesus Christ. And it says many were invited to the wedding, but they were not willing to come. And we continue here, verse 4. Again, he sent out other servants, saying, "Tell those who are invited, see, I have prepared my dinner. My oxen and fatted cattle are killed, and all things are ready. Come to the wedding." But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his own farm, another to his business. And the rest seized his servants, treated them spitefully, and killed them. But when the king heard about it, he was furious, and he sent out his armies, destroyed those murderers, and burned up their city. As you know, in Old Testament times, God sent his servants, which is prophets, to the Israel. But the Israeli people, they killed the prophets from God. So later on, God sent them an army to destroy the city, which is Jerusalem. So he's talking about that here. So this part of the story is talking about Israel. And we continue on verse 8. Then he said to his servants, "The wedding is ready, but those who were invited were not worthy. Therefore go into the highways, and as many as you find, invite to the wedding." So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all whom they found, both bad and good. And the wedding hall was filled with guests. So after the Old Testament times, now it's New Testament times, and it says, "Invite everyone, bad and good." So now in this new age of church, all the Gentiles are invited to the wedding, and all the people from all the nations of the world, they are invited. So they are filling up all the churches around the world. So it says here, and the wedding hall was filled with guests. So in contrary to the first part of the story, which is talking about Israel, now this part is talking about the church age and about the Gentiles. So nowadays there are so many churches, and all the church halls are filled with guests, and they believe they are saved, so they rejoice, and they're having a celebration every Sunday, singing songs to God, thinking they are saved. But it says here, verse 11, "But when the king came in to see the guests, he saw a man there who did not have on a wedding garment. So he said to him, 'Friend, how did you come in here without a wedding garment?' And he was speechless. Then the king said to the servants, 'Bind him hand and foot, take him away and cast him into outer darkness. There will be weeping and gnashing of teeth, for many are called, but few are chosen.'" So many have been invited, and they are filling the wedding hall to celebrate in the churches, but many of them will not have this wedding garment. So they will be thrown into outer darkness. Outer darkness is hell, because in hell there's no light, so it's dark in there. And because of so much pain, there will be gnashing of teeth. So it says here, for many are called, but few are chosen. So out of so many Christians, so many Jesus-believing Christians, they are called, but only few of them will be chosen to get into the kingdom of God. So what is this wedding garment? The answer is in the book of Revelation. Revelation chapter 19 verse 7. Let us be glad and rejoice and give him glory, for the marriage of the Lamb has come, and his wife has made herself ready. And to her it was granted to be arrayed in fine linen, clean and bright, for the fine linen is the righteous acts of the saints. So we see once again here, it's talking about the marriage of the Lamb, who is Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And his wife has made herself ready, and to her it was granted to be arrayed in fine linen. So he's talking about the cloth, fine linen, that the wife must wear. And what is that cloth, the fine linen? It says here, the fine linen is the righteous acts of the saints. So today many Christians, they believe they are saved just because they believe Jesus. And although they are weak and they are living a sinful life, because they believe Jesus, they are saved by the grace of God, in spite of their wickedness and sinful life. So many of them, they don't have this fine linen granted to them. So as a bride of Jesus Christ, we have to make ourselves ready with this fine linen, the wedding garment, which is the righteous acts of saints. So the many Jesus-believing Christians, because of the false gospel they believe in, they don't have this wedding garment ready. So they are in danger of being thrown into the outer darkness, which is hell. And another thing I have to mention is that this wedding garment, which is the righteous acts of the saints, it has to be granted by God. Because no matter how hard you try, unless it's granted by God, you can't make yourself holy. It's impossible to be holy if it's not granted by God. So how does it get granted by God? I explained about this in another video called How to be Born Again. In that video I explained that to be born again, you must not only believe Jesus Christ, but you have to let Jesus in you, in the center of you, which means denying yourself and make him the Lord of your life. So instead of following your dreams and living the life the way you like, but to obey Jesus and follow him, to live for his kingdom. So only if you do that and be born again, then you will be able to live a holy life. I explained about that in detail in that video, but because just like the earthly parents, they protect their children. For those who are born again to be the children of God, God protects them from the temptation, all the evil urges from the evil spirits, so that they can resist the temptation. So unless you not only believe Jesus, but deny yourself and make Jesus your Lord of your life, then you won't be born again, and God will not protect you from the evil temptations. So you won't be able to live a holy life. But if you deny yourself to follow Jesus, then you'll be born again, and this fine linen will be granted to you, which is the righteous acts and holiness. So without this garment, no one can enter the kingdom of God. So that's what's happening right now. So many Christians, they believe Jesus Christ, but they hesitate to follow Jesus and still live for this world. So they're not able to live a holy life. So because they don't have this wedding garment, which is holiness, the righteous acts of saints, they won't be chosen to get into the wedding banquet and into the kingdom of heaven. So I wish you that you realize this and decide to follow Jesus and don't live for this world with all the evil desires and all the values that are vain, but separate yourselves from this world to follow Jesus and to work for His kingdom, and God will keep you from the evil, and God will keep you holy, and you will make yourself ready with this wedding garment, which is righteous acts of the saints and holiness, to get into the kingdom of heaven. I wish you blessings from the Lord.